Yeah.
I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won.
Yeah.
I hope my team they won.
Yeah. Man.
I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won.
Yeah.
I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. No, I have the gurus coming out the MEAC and the SWAC and the MEAC, man. I got two of the boss players on here with Twitter, getting it going with those days, what is it, Tuesday and Wednesday that y'all take on the world, it seems like, and shut down Twitter to talk a little bit of football for the world to know about HBCUs.
Try to,
Let's
man.
do it, HBCU night there, HBCU football. What's going on, gentlemen?
What up, Doc? What's happening, Doc?
Man, it's finna get crazy today. Mike and Charles are out on assignment, so they allowed me to bring in, as I told y'all said y'all wanted it. They got the whole stage to themselves. Yeah, you usually see them on Sundays. They just wrap everything up in a nice bow and then send you on your way to tell you what you expect for the next coming week. This time we got them in a little early. So we're going to really get into some football news. And then I'm going to charge them up a little bit because we're going to go into the band. I know they don't necessarily get so deep in the band, but I'm going to bring out the marching sport. I'm going to tell them what we do for the marching sport. So y'all going to get a chance to see it in a different angle when you get the football heads to tell you. And I have some interesting talk about the bands this week because these folks don't quite understand when to play, when not to play. So I need to get some folks to kind of understand, maybe educate the world. We'll get into that in a different segment. Welcome to episode 320, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show is covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports, from institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. As I said, they're out on assignment. So I have none other than Professor Jones, Professor Sims, that is BJ Jones, and Joshua Sims Sr. As you know, we're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KSWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, that's Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Yeah, that's big.
H-time, baby. H-time, baby. H-time, baby.
Let them know. Let them know. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. We're going to get right into it. And I'm going to ask, you probably have experienced this in some form or fashion at some part in your career. So the tough news has come out, at least for Doc Gamble. UAPB has fired Doc Gamble in mid-season. That is less than 18 months after leading UAPB to the SWAC championship game. That was back in the spring of 2020, as you all know. And they have moved forward, and obviously they are going with a wide receiver, offensive coordinator, will be involved in terms of taking care of the duties there, and that's Don Treadmill, is my understanding. Let me go to you first, BJ Jones. What are your thoughts in terms of a move like this, in terms of this time of the season? I'm going to ask you from a couple of different perspectives. You know, from a player's perspective, you've done that in real life. From a coaching perspective, you've done that in real life. And then even from a fan's perspective, if you would, you've done that as well in real life. kudos to you. You had a good last couple of weekends. I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll talk about that later. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh man, this from a coaching standpoint, it's incredibly tough. One of my first high school jobs, I was a linebackers coach, and our defensive coordinator was let go 5 games into the season. And the head coach came to me, and his exact words was, "Well, it's on you now, bud." And that's a lot of change in the middle of the season. Man, kids and staffs get into a routine. It's difficult from a player standpoint. Fortunate enough to not have experienced that before, but talking to guys who have, it's incredibly difficult. Going back to routine is everything. But when you look at it from the numbers standpoint, Doc Gamble had that remarkable spring season where he went 4-1, went to the SWAC championship game. But Doc, we talk about this on your show quite a bit. Since that night, where they blew that huge lead to Alcorn, they've been 4-14. That's the overall record, 4-14. They're 5-11. 1-11 in the SWAC since that time, with the average loss being by 32.6 points. Like that's plus 4 touchdowns, the average loss. So you kind of see why Arkansas Pine Bluff made that move.
Yeah, great point. Let me go to you, Joshua Sims. Same thing. If I read off your resume, right? Played the game, real life. Coached the game, real life. We know you're a fan. We hear that in your voice all the time. You don't even try to hide it. Not to say that you can't be a true analyst, because you are. Make sure people are clear on that. But with that being said, as I asked BJ, same question. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. From a coach's perspective, I've actually had the experience of, being a head coach and having, not necessarily being removed or relieved of my duties, but really resigning at the end of the season. And, that's relatively a different feeling than being relieved of your duties at the end of the season. As a player, I had that experience as well, man. The coaching staff who brought me into Central, by the time I got past my true freshman year and my redshirt freshman year, they were gone. Midway point of my redshirt freshman year, they were gone. Matter of fact, the coach, God rest his soul, he passed here recently. He didn't even make the bus ride back home from Atlanta. They let him go, So I definitely know from a player's perspective what that feels like to have a coach be relieved inside of a season. And then from a fan's perspective, man, I can look at it in 2 different ways. You have fans like us who are in tune with the game and we really pay attention to the game itself. And from that perspective, we absolutely understand, dog, there just wasn't any good football being played at Pine Bluff, man. And the statistics that BJ just rolled down highlight that intentionally and really realistically for everybody to be able to understand. But from a fan's perspective, where it's just my alma mater and I'm just here to support my alma mater and be a part of the alumni base, and I just like to come to some games, you may not understand. You may not fully understand to the level of magnitude why this needed to be done. But trust me, it needed to be done. And, only time will tell if Pine Bluff is better for it, if they'll stay in the same position, or are they going to be kind of running the Red Queens race and be running in a circle. So
good stuff. Let's get back into it. Talk a little bit about some other news of the day. Sticking with you, Josh, what's on your mind? What's some HBCU news of the week that's on your mind right now? What's hot?
Man, I heard my boy Drizzy Drake stepped in the building last night at Spell House homecoming. They had I think they had a rapper, 21 Savage was there, and then Drake stepped in the building last night on surprise, man. My boy Drizzy Champagne Poppy jumped in the building. But above that, though, just not highlighting that.
They doing it big in Atlanta.
They doing it big in the A-Dot. They doing it big. But just highlighting all of the HBCUs, man. This is homecoming season. This is the first homecoming season where things feel like they're back 100% open, man. And to see the students, the staff, the families, the alumni coming back onto their alma mater's campuses, man. I just wanted to take a quick moment in this opportunity to salute everybody that's coming, man. I've seen some clips for Howard homecoming and everybody, man. So be safe. Continue to do what you need to do to keep yourself and your family safe. But dog, we back, dog. It's homecoming time, baby.
Man, I know y'all doing it big in football over there at North Carolina Central, and like we'll take a deep dive into the game when we get into MEAC game of the week, SWAC in that last segment. But you know, y'all tend to play a little basketball over there too. I see y'all got high hopes. It's 7 transfers. Y'all doing a little bit what they do over there at Texas Southern. It look like
we got a big.
You know, act like I ain't connected now.
And we got a big man this year, Doc. And if
7-1.
anybody go back and look, if you just get a chance, go back and look, because I know it's too early for me to be talking basketball, but if you go back and look and you see the seasons where we were dominant, when we've been dominant in the MEAC, it's when we've had a dominant big man. And we got a guard. Obviously, we got little Justin Wright, who is, I mean, he's incredible, man. He's cut from that Poobie Chapman cut of cloth, man. So it's going to be interesting, man. We're going to see, because I seen a couple people have us finish in 3rd and 4th. I said, okay, all right. We like being the underdogs. So it's all good. We good.
See, we like that. We like that. DJ Jones, what's on your mind? What HBCU news? What do you want to talk about in terms of just the general? What's hot in terms of HBCU news out there in your world?
Oh, man. Right now, man, it got to be Deion Sanders in Jackson State. You saw the 60 Minutes interview on Sunday night. Then news comes down earlier today that Good Morning America will be on the campus of Jackson State in the morning. So it's going to be Good Morning Jackson State live from Jackson. And, man, just good things just keep happening over there, man. They get more and more eyeballs and more cameras going on with what's happening at Jackson State. So kudos to them, to everyone associated with Jackson State. You know, Charles is probably over there, man, probably getting his facial and stuff ready together, and, for Good Morning America. Him and Neil.
Yeah, he talking about he on assignment. Yeah, tell somebody else that ain't went to HBC for a homecoming.
You feel me? We already know.
Yeah. The assignment is homecoming. That's what the assignment is. Yeah, that's the assignment. But yeah, man, just really seeing that and being here in Atlanta. And I was listening to the radio, man, and it was Spellhouse. They had a couple of more celebrities getting ready to come in town for different things associated with the Morehouse Spelman homecoming. They had Coach Rich Freeman and a couple of players on the radio. Maybe I've been living under a rock, but I see what big of a deal that Spellhouse is, this week. Yeah, you can't be in this city and not feel it. So shout out to Morehouse and Spelman as well.
Nice shout out. I like that. Good job, BJ. Let me get into this, and then we'll take a quick turn and see if y'all got some other news that y'all want to talk about before we take our first break. Tickets are now on sale for the 2022 CIAA Football Championship from the CIAA.com when you talk about it. It looks like it's going to be Virginia Union Fayetteville State. It's not quite tied up in a bowl, but that's the direction you're going. You're talking about the game is in Salem, Virginia. Saturday, November the 12th, that is 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so that's 12 o'clock Central. You can do advanced ticket sales are $15, while day of the event tickets are $25. You can go to Ticketmasters.com and grab your tickets. In terms of that, ID for students will be $10. Admission for children 7 and under is free. Tickets are also available at the Salem Civic Center box office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. 8 to 14 for children are $10 again. So if you're in that area, support your HBCU. Obviously, some good football being played over there in the CIAA, particularly for Virginia Union University, top 25 team, getting it done in so many different ways. So shout out to the CIAA as they are making a bid and a run to get those ticket sales out. Give you some updates in terms of where you can catch the game. You can catch the game right now live on the CIAA Sports Network, and you would have to purchase that for $14.95 if you want to catch it. Trying to run the check, I can see that. I can understand that. We go back to you, BJ Jones. Anything else that you wanted to shout out real quick? Let's hot out there before we take our first break.
Hey, it's homecoming down on the bluff, man. Shout out to all the Jags, man. Hey, we've been looking good, man. And
you had to do it. I don't blame you, though.
excited.
Shout them out. Go ahead and get an S on your chest. You know you can't help yourself.
Hey, we got Virginia Lynchburg for homecoming. It kind of is what it is. But it's going to pick up to a fever pitch on Sunday because we know what week it is. It's Jackson State Hate Week. So, yeah, man.
We might have to sneak that in a little bit. We might just have to sneak it in. It's never too early to talk about this matchup. But in the next 3 weeks, man, it's some good football. This week, South Carolina State, North Carolina Central, and the MEAC. Next week, you got Southern and Jackson. Then the week after that, you got FAMU Southern. That's just those. And we're not even getting into all the homecomings. Got homecomings galore everywhere. Mississippi the same week, which is just ridiculous for Valley and all four. How do you do that to the people? Joshua, quick before we get out of here, let me give you a chance to talk about any other thing that's hot that you want to get off.
Man. Outside of football, man, for those who don't know, outside of football, man, I'm an avid golf player. I play as often as I possibly can. And so I want to give a shout out to Winston-Salem State, man. They've got they just got done signing a deal for them to do the WSSU SAS Golf Invitational. They'll be inviting 12 HBCUs, over 80 HBCU golf athletes from over 12 HBCUs across the country to this invitational right into my hometown, man, right into Winston-Salem, North Carolina, man. And so this is going to be incredible, man. The golf course they'll be playing at, man, I grew up on that golf course. Literally, man, I grew up on that golf course. So it's a great opportunity for those kids to showcase their skills and their abilities. I'm actually going to come and check it out, man. I'm going to go home and spend some time with mom and spend some time with family, and then I'm going to go check out the invitational when they kick it off, man. So over 80 HBCU golf athletes coming into Winston-Salem for this invitational. That's going to be huge, man. So shout out to SAS. Shout out to WSSU, man. That's about the last time you're going to hear me shout out them Rams. I won't give no more shout outs to that school on the other side of 40, man. I won't give no more.
We might have to test out your handicap.
Tiger Woo.
We talked a little bit about the CIAA championship, Virginia Union top 25 teams in terms of the G2 college football rankings. They're ranked obviously number 20. You have Benedict, though, moves to number 17, 18th national in football polls as they continue on. That's D2.com football media poll, up from number 23 last weekend. American Football Coaches Association poll has Benedict jumping from 23 to 18. So big time shout out. I have Virginia Union number 1 in my HBCU poll ranking, and number 2, I have obviously Benedict. So shout that out. Get out there and check it out. We'll keep you updated as we do the poll rankings. We might sneak in a little talk to see what they thought about my poll rankings since they hadn't had a chance to shoot it down. But we're going to get into marching sport as we come back in this second segment. You know how we do marching sport? I don't think people understand. My understanding, when the bands, they talk to us, they talking about, it's a sport. Well, anything where I'm from in the sport, there's a winner, except for international soccer, right? And even then, they have got to the point where they got to do penalty kicks to declare a winner. So even they don't like ties anymore unless it's regular season, non-script. But there's always a winner, which means there's a loser. You're going to get a W and an L. So when I do the poll rankings, it's when you have 2 marching bands and they face up each other. All this band poll voting, you got large fan bases, y'all cherry pick, y'all got these computer nerds that sit on the computer and hit it 50 times. Y'all sit on
heavy,
that don't work for me. That means nothing to me. I want to know the marching sport, meaning you matched up with somebody, you had a 0 quarter, you had halftime, you had the 5th quarter, and summation of all that, you got it done. You know how to support your team. When your team is down, you pick them up. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you get a victory with matchups. So don't talk to me if you're going over here to see these NFL teams. You want me to get excited because they invite you over to you marching with some other band. Historically white college because I don't know. Y'all can do that. Y'all get excited about that. That's on y'all. That's not in our poll ranking. That don't count. You might get an extra L for that because you're selling away the culture. That's a whole different country. Let me stop. We'll come right back after this break. Stick with us.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
Oh, we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place. A space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Professor Jones, Professor Sims, known as the HBCU football gurus as they break it down. You got BJ Jones as he does it on Tuesday, HBCU Football Weekly. You know he drops that top 5 Tuesday when he just drives them crazy. I be looking at the poll, he be like, man, just go create your own, man. I know you got to have a dialogue, but some folks just come up with some stuff. I be like, I can see it. It ain't mine, but I can see how he gonna get bad. But it's crazy. So you got the magic there. I see BJ Jones, and then you got Joshua Sims Sr. that just talks about the street adjust for a team. He won't even call out the team's name. That's the HBCU Nightly. Both on Twitter Spaces Tuesday and Wednesday. Catch these brothers out because they're doing it big. They're getting good dialogue. Shout out for the programs. They bring on coaches. Shout out players that come in there. So they got a lot of mixes. Very diverse. Women are in conversation. Dudes obviously bringing in. And diverse in terms of whether it's FCS or Division II, even some NIA in there. And then it's diverse in terms of the variety of people that are involved with different HBCUs, SWAC, MEAC, CIAA, SIAC, independent programs, as we like to call them in the HBCU world. They get it. But let's get into this marching sport. Top 10, let me tell you what's going on here. Receiving votes, Texas Southern, Ocean of Soul got a victory as they took down Pine Bluff. See, it's 0-2, but they actually got a victory there. Edward Waters marched marching band, 1-0. Albany State marching band, Rams showed out. There was 2-1 as they continue to prove they're going to end up jumping in the top 10. Some of these bands in the bottom 5 don't find a way to find the way on the road to have a band and travel. I don't get it. Number 10, North Carolina A&T, blue and gold marching machine, 1-1 on the season, 8th, first place vote. And they're going to have some problems because they get into conference play. They didn't do a lot of traveling for HBCU matchups, so I'm not sure what they can do the rest of the season. But it is what it is. At number 9, Tennessee State, Aristocrat of Bands, 1-1. They are 15 points as number 9, and they are actually 2-1 as you break down. When you break it down, they did have a battle with Lane, and they bounced back last year where they kind of were upset with Kentucky State. Not this year. They got it done. Lane won on the field, but in the stands, the Aristocrat band showed why. Again, maybe they both can go to the playoffs and they play in the playoffs. You can get the two bands there to fight it out to kind of give you some more marching sport bands at the end of the season, FCS playoffs. These guys will keep you up and let you know how they come in as they get into conference play. Some big matchups coming up in a couple of weeks for these two football teams, but we're talking about the marching band, bringing us to number 8, FAMU with the marching 100, 1-1, 27 points. Haven't had competition in a while. Big time band, but they don't march against other HBCU bands. I don't get it. Number 7, let's move on. Bethune-Cookman marching Wildcats, 2-0, 34 points, ranked number 7. Green is number 6, Alcorn State. The Sounds of Dynamite band, 2-2. Now, they matched up last week against Southern. I don't know if Southern's going to be able to remain number 1 because they started to maybe drop down. It got in the game, and all of a sudden, they forgot that there was actually a football game going on, and guess what? It was a damn good football game. I mean, it was close. You know, you playing when your team has the ball?
Come on, man.
And then it was like the Sounds of Dynamite. I was like, all right, they're going to get a bump because they know what they're doing. No, they decided to do the same thing. All of a sudden, when their team had the band. I mean, you got coaches, fans running over there talking about, no, not yet. I got to play the video where you actually have a referee goes in the stands against UNLV and be like, say, man, we playing a football game down here. NCAA rule says when your team is – when the other team is behind the center, you're not supposed to play. And you would think people would be sharp enough not to play if their own team has the ball. I'm literally at a game with Texas Southern, and this is why Texas Southern is struggling a little bit because they played great competition. They got a band. But they were in their home game against Alabama State. You have the VP of athletics have to call the band director. He sneaks to the stands and somebody else don't know where it's going on. They actually had a referee on the microphone telling them, say, hey, man, can y'all not play right now? You know, the rule said. And they just keep playing.
I saw it happen with Grambling. I saw it happen with Grambling too, Doc, on national television.
What is wrong with these bands that don't understand? Do your thing. 0 quarter, halftime, 4th quarter, play. But during the game, you know, push your team. Get the crowd involved. Don't just blow the blow. Let's get in the top 5. Alcorn, you disappointed. Get in the top 5. At number 5, we're going to get into it and bring you North Carolina Central's Sound Machine Marching Band. They played against Morgan State, so they actually bumped up to 3-0 as they continue to move in there. They snuck that in there. So I want to update that. But they're at number 5, bringing us to number 4 as we move on through this. Prairie View A&M, the March Storm is 3-1, 2-1. They stay at number 4. Be interested in that next matchup as they start to see if we can get them on the road. We'll see what that looks like other than a classic matchup. And number 3, Jackson State, Sonic Boom of the South. And we got big football contest in a couple of weeks. You got a big band matchup as they're number 4, 1 first place vote, 78 points. Bringing us number 2, Alabama State. Sneaking around the chicken coop, Mighty Marching Hornets, 3-0, 1-0, as they got the upset over Jackson State, 2 first place votes, 80 points. Number 1 is Southern Human Joke Box. Again, they would have failed, but then it turns around and Alcorn does the same thing. That sounds like, well, I guess.
Balanced out.
You know, I was supposed to call it a draw. I was like, what? Let me go to you first, BJ Jones. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Man, let me tell you something.
What are your thoughts on the poll rankings or what I talked about in that game? Was I right or wrong?
Man, you're right, Doc. Look, as a player, man, the band can fire you up and really change the momentum on the sideline when they're playing at the right time. Man, but I've been to too many games, man. Well, I saw one man, team trying to get on for a last second field goal, and the band is going trombone battle. I'm like, that ain't the time for that, man. That ain't the time for that. It's not the time. And it's like, man, I know these band directors, man. I know they got to be football fans in some way and capacity. Because I've talked to a couple of them. And then you got to know, man, that the biggest thing, you're there to support your football team. And there was some times last week, man, where I was yelling at the TV, "Hey, man, play the defense chant." You know what I mean? Hey, man, play something to fire up the team. You know, we're too focused on the other band.
Yep, absolutely. Good point. Josh, go to you. And before you talk about that, you can sneak in that band matchup between Morgan State. What did Morgan State drink? You know, what I saw, they tried, but it didn't quite work.
You know, Doc, they did. You know, you said the perfect word.
At least they came. At least they came.
Did come.
Credit. They got on the road.
That's more to say than most other HBCUs inside our conference. The MEAC is known. Our bands don't travel. So I'm glad. Commend. You know, salute. Hats off. Great for Morgan State bringing a band. Listen, man. But what's the point of bringing the band if the band ain't gonna play? Huh? What are you bringing the band for if they ain't gonna play? I heard that's a nice drive from Baltimore down to Durham. What they come for? And then furthermore, now Doc, I ain't want to say this. I don't like saying this because I just don't want to say this. I don't like putting family business out there. But if I hear one more snare drummer or drummer in our band playing when the quarterback is trying to hike the ball, I'm a loser, man. I'm a loser, man. I'm sitting there. It's the second quarter. We trying to drive down the field, and somebody back there playing the drum head that's got 5 drum heads. He's sitting there. Dude, be quiet, dog. On offense, we supposed to be silent. So, look, man, that irked me. I'm so glad I was on tonight so I can get that off my chest, get that off my shoulders. Come on, man. We got to do – come on, man. We got to do better. We got to do better, man. Got to do that.
Yeah, man. I love my bands. I gave them a whole segment, top 10, and then we got to deal with this in the midterm grade. You know, midterm grade, HBCU bands, if they ain't careful, they might be ranked top 10, number 1, but they're going to get an F squared for midterm. I'm just saying, they got to do better. Like you said, they got to do better. And they can do better. I've seen it when they get down and bring a whole crowd, change the direction of the game. Southern is one of them. I see Southern change a whole half. I mean, flip the script. I've seen them do it. I've seen the Marching Storm bring the funk. It changed the State Fair Classic. Whole middle change second half. I'm coming out the gate. Come on, marching bands. Y'all can do this. Band directors, I'm talking to you. With that, let's go to our second segment. We're going to get back into football talk. I got these gentlemen on here. We're going to give you a whole half an hour second segment where we get into some football matchups. You know, we got the HBCU Huddle Games of the Week. We're going to break it down from that. Stick with us. We'll be right back in the second half of the show.
All pads are exactly the same. Think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a
song stuck in my head.
Dr. Mills inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We got Professor Sims hooked. We got him hooked. He's be eating a cereal talking about Professor, yes sir. He's gonna tell you who won and lost.
Who the boss? Yeah.
Who the boss? Yeah.
It'll get you, man. It's catchy now.
It's catchy, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, my boy. I'm gonna let him know. I'm gonna send this clip to him. He gonna fall out. He don't know how that. Raleigh, North Carolina. George William Athletic Complex, CIAA South. We're in your territory. Saturday, October the 22nd, 12 o'clock, high noon. Winston-Salem State Rams, they got to win. 1-5, 1-3. At St. Augustine Falcons, 1-6, 1-4. Somebody's going to get the second win, and they're few and far becoming, but this is going to be our CIAA game of the week. Joshua, since that's your native woods, we're going to let you start things off. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, Coach Massey, man, salute to Coach Massey and that staff at Winston-Salem State, or as we call them, State. Man, finding a way to get a win against Coach Jones and Shaw last week, man. And if I know anything about Coach Massey and I know anything about that Winston State squad, they are going to utilize that win they got last week against Shaw to their momentum this week against St. Aug, man. St. Aug is reeling, though they do have one win. St. Aug is just not at the spot right now where they're really ready to turn their season around. They're too young. Their offensive line is very, very young. And Winston State, though they are kind of young in some spots too, they've got some veteran leadership on the outsides at receiver and DB. And so I think that running game is going to be good for them, and they'll be able to go over the top. I've got Winston State being able to win that game, man. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be close, Doc.
Ooh, so they're going to win it going away. 2 in a row for Winston State. That's a nice place to go when you hadn't seen success in a while.
Absolutely.
BJ Jones, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup? You agree with Joshua, or are you going in a different direction?
Yeah, man, for Winston-Salem State, man, that win last week, man, it was a long time coming. They needed some things to go right, up at Winston-Salem, man, and I was happy to see them get the win. I think they're going to get a second one. Looking at Shaw, man, that's a young football team. That team is going to grow. They're going to be dangerous in years to come. This year, unfortunately, is not the year I think Winston-Salem State to get win number 2 on the year.
Sticking with you, BJ Jones, we're going to go to the SIAC in your general area, home in Atlanta, obviously coming out of Alabama. But as they say back in the day, go west, my friends. We're going to go west in the West Division. We're going to go far west as they do in the CIAA. Top 10 matchup, though. Number 7, Tuskegee Golden Tigers, 5-2, 4-0. Really playing some good football, quietly getting it done. Most people didn't think Tuskegee would come into a season like this. Ever since they've gotten that big-time win to get on top of 700 wins or whatever, they've been rolling. They're up against number 10, Lane Dragons, 3-3, 2-1. Lane Dragons has played some good football, had some big wins, but they've also had some tough losses. But this is it. Pretty much whoever gets this victory, particularly if it's the Golden Tigers, they really will set and lock in, for the most part, the Western Division, or the West Division of the CIAA. You start Kentucky looking around thoroughbreds, they say not so fast, but for all practical principles, that's what this is going to do. Lane Dragons get it. They'll have to kind of wait because they did lose that head-to-head matchup with Kentucky State. But BJ Jones, what are your thoughts on this SIAC matchup?
Man, Tuskegee, man, has really turned the corner, man, since they had that second loss of the year. And man, Tuskegee, they playing some good ball. I mean, and they're finding a way to get it done in different ways. They had the shootout last week against Central State. They played a defensive game against Clark Atlanta. they're finding ways to win it. And Reggie Ruffin, in which will be his lone season back, at the helm for Tuskegee, got them rolling. And this game is crucial, man. Going into Lane, you had a lot of confidence in them after, they beat Tennessee State, but then they come back the next week and drop one, right after that. So you don't know what you're going to get. I'm going to go with Tuskegee. I was always told when you're in situations like this, go with the team that's been there before. Tuskegee with the SIAC titles that they've won, I'm going to roll with them.
Makes sense. And Joshua, they got a new field turf they put down there. Now, they won't get to have it at home, but they will have it against the rival Miles, which with Reggie Ruffin, as you said, getting it done, previous coaching Miles, that should be fascinating to watch. But before we get ahead of ourselves, Lane out of Tennessee, Tuskegee out of Alabama, who you got? Top 10 matchup. Joshua, what do you think?
Yeah, man. Doc, this is a traditional case of, just at this point in the season, it's the haves and the have-nots. And what Tuskegee has versus what Lane has right now is just a little bit overweighted, man. Bryson Williams, quarterback for Tuskegee, I mean, he's a dog, man, flat-out ball player, man. And Coach Ruffin and that staff have that kid playing really, really well, man. So I don't see Lane, I see Lane being able to put up a fight because this can be the Lane team that beat Tennessee State a few weeks ago. But when you play Dr. Jackal and Mr. Hyde, when you become Dr. Jackal and Mr. Hyde in the SIAC, it does not turn out well for you because we don't know when you're going to be Dr. Jackal. We don't know when you're going to be Mr. Hyde. And when you have a team like Tuskegee who's just being consistent, we just Tuskegee. We ain't being Dr. Jackal or Mr. Hyde. We being Tuskegee. So I see Tuskegee being able to win this game. It's going to be close, man. I think Lane is going to try to make this close. But ultimately, I think Tuskegee pulls away in the fourth quarter and really kind of and continues on the streak, man. They on a run right now that it's hard, man. It's hard to go on a run like they're on right now. So I see them winning this game pretty well.
Let me give a shout out to some of the listeners before we come back and get into the major division and get into some of these big key matchups. Theron Waters, Ricky Burton. Shout out Chuck Hunt. Who else we got in here? Emma Price, Ricky Burton, as I said, Willie, Alex Hine, showing us some love. Thomas Einstein Max is in the house. Reginald Johnson, Belinda Johnson, Michael Lee, Ron Alvarez is checking us out, giving us some love. Stephen Gate, does UAPB have the sources to compete? That it depends, but get right, coach. You can find some resources. You can get it done. We'll see what that means. Good question. Brandon King, G-Boom Holly, in terms of showing us some Jazzy Faye is in here. Lennon Blow, John Richardson, representing Norfolk State. I see your hashtag Spartan Nation in terms of Lennon getting in here. Agria Scott, Michael Knox. Who else we got in here sending some love? I appreciate you. Ashante N. Tobias Demery, Ashley Bonham, Jimmy L. Wilson, Karen Griffin. I see y'all. Sarah Beverly, Carter Kelvin. Oh, man. Representing the Braves in the LaShant Harris. Stephen Gage is acting up out there, just going in. Let's see. Michael D. Jones. The Braves in here deep today. Carl Moore, Deborah L. Sims.
Mama!
Shout out. Juan D. Smith. Silas Edward McMorris. Deborah L. Sims, like you said. Deborah Sims, Joshua Mom, Eagle Pride. Yeah, shout out. I like that. Appreciate you, Mom, for tuning us in. We'll be right back, and we might talk a little bit about those Eagles in this next segment, so stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on? Sure, it's wireless. Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? Buick Envision 2021. Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking. Me too. Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you. All of you.
Q Time is our classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
We are making the virtual HBCU experience available wherever you live through Stillman Online. We offer online degrees in business, criminal justice, psychology, and religion. Stillman also offers technology badges in cybersecurity and data analytics. You can participate in all student activities, fraternities and sororities, internships, graduation ceremonies, and much more. Apply for admission today at stillman.edu. Stillman College, where we prepare you for a different world.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com.
As you see it, we're going to go over there into the MEAC, starting with the MEAC Game of the Week Major Division. Number 2, North Carolina Central Eagles, 5-1, 1-0 on the season at South Carolina State Bulldogs, 2-4. This was a classic game last year, and obviously the winner ultimately go in the celebration, and you just heard Coach Prime said the goal is to go to the Celebration Bowl if you're in the SWAC in the MEAC. That's where the champions go. You go to the championship game and then you go to MEAC. You go to the Celebration Bowl in Atlanta. In a lot of ways, people think who wins this may be in that early trajectory to get there. Delaware State and some other teams say maybe, hey, we'd like to put our name in the hat. But big time matchup. Joshua Sims, we're going to go to you first. North Carolina Central, tell us what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup? 12:30 p.m., ESPN 3.
Yeah, man, this will be a battle in the trenches. I had a chance this week to talk to a couple of the coaches at North Carolina Central. And the big thing that we've been kind of focusing on is how can we win inside the trenches. Our offensive line last week led us to have over 500 total offensive yards last week, which was incredible against Morgan State. But, the real test will be this week. B.J. Davis, Jablonski Green, all of these guys that they've got on that defensive side of the ball over at South Carolina State. This is not going to be an easy cakewalk in the park, man. Last night I sat back late last night and watched some film on this South Carolina State defense. And what I will tell you is that they are impressive, regardless of how kind of below average that offense is. They are impressive up front, man. That front seven can do some things that can keep them in the game, as we saw them do against FAMU, given that was a little bit of the bad play calling from FAMU's perspective as well. But their defense will keep them in the game. And even if you up 20-0, three possessions in a game, that defense will keep them in the game. And you've got to keep your foot on the gas against South Carolina State at all times. Old savvy ball coach and Coach Pugh. And I said it earlier this week, man, and I'm going to say it again here on HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Pugh, I love you to life, Coach. But we ain't falling for that killing us with the compliment stuff, man. You would try to lull somebody to sleep with them compliments until they are totally dissolved of how they got their game plan and stuff. And then after you done beat them, you won't give them no more compliments in the post-game presser. So we love you, Coach, but we ain't falling for it. Davius Richard for the Walter Payton. He's going to do what he's got to do this week, man. We should come out of Orangeburg with a good victory and really cement ourselves as the guys in the MEAC this year.
Wow, should be nice. I can't wait. BJ Jones, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup?
Oh man, the
see Dawson
Bulldogs.
Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. The Bulldogs have had the Eagles' number here lately.
Yeah.
You got to go to Orangeburg, and that's a difficult place to win. I know that South Carolina State has lost to FAMU at home, and it ended up being a 6-point contest. It's going to be a battle to get out of there. I mean, I tell anybody, man, when you have a program like South Carolina State that's led by a head coach like Buddy Pugh, you're going to have to kill them. Like, they're not going to hand you the thing. You're going to have to take it. And it's going to be a hard-fought game to get it. But at the end of the day, I think Davis, Richard, and that North Carolina Central offense, that defense led by Courtney Cord and what he's been able to do on that side, man, that defensive line, that front seven, I think it's going to be too much. I like the Eagles to get it done and really get a leg up in this race to the Celebration Bowl.
Man, it's going to be fun to watch. It's a big one. We're going to go off the radar a little bit. We're going to go in the SWAC game of the week. For a lot of folks, because of the record, they're not going to see how do you put this as a major division game of the week. Not a lot of conference games in the SWAC this week to think about that. But this is an Eastern Division matchup. It'll be in the Mississippi Rice-Totten Stadium, 6 o'clock on ESPN+. You have Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 1-5, 1-2 in the conference, and Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, 0-6, 0-4 in the conference. Both teams need a win. It's going to be interesting to see who can get it done. Stick with you, BJ. What's your thoughts in terms of this Eastern Division matchup for teams that want to get on the right side of the track?
We said all summer that Mississippi Valley was going to be a much improved team. And they haven't been so far this year. I mean, they are very solid defensively. Offensively, they're offensive. It's a revolving door at quarterback. You really can't get anything done. The defense plays hard, but then they tire out. I never would have guessed we'd have been going into the weekend of October 22nd, and Valley would be winless. But here we are. And they have a Bethune-Cookman team that ended the year strong last year. Remember how Bethune-Cookman ended that season last year? Ended the season strong, got the win over Grambling, looked like they were kind of picking up some momentum. And now they've kind of, flatlined a little bit. And you talk about two programs that really need a win. If I had to lean one way right now, I would lean Mississippi Valley because it's at Valley, and that field is worth 6 points with Valley anyway. So, yeah, I'm a roll with Valley, but I think it's going to be close.
The problem with it being only 6 points is they need probably a little more than 6. 6 and 7, 13. Maybe that'll get
Valley
done.
can't score too many. They can't score too many now.
Right, that's the problem. Can they help shut Bethune-Cookman out? I think that's going to be a challenge, but I want to hear what Joshua says on this SWAC matchup. He's seen what Valley can do at home against a solid team. They can get going, so you do have to jump on them because they get thinking about in some momentum. They'll play you out at home, and as you said, PJ Jones, there is something about that field. What are your thoughts, Dish?
Yeah, Doc, I'm gonna be honest, man. If Valley, I have Valley winning this game, but if we're gonna have a real critical, honest conversation, if Valley doesn't win this game, when do they get a win this season? It's gonna be very, very difficult. They still got their 2 in-state rivals that they've got to play this season. They still have a tough SWAC. They still got some reasonable SWAC competition still left on their schedule. So you look at that and you start looking down the line, you look at their schedule, you're like, man, if they don't find a way to beat Bethune, man, I hope that the field give them more than 6 points. I hope maybe they give them 12, maybe they give them 18. I don't know, something. Give them something. Let the football gods just give them something, because to see Valley at this point of the season, to BJ's point, without a win, you couldn't have paid me at the beginning of the season to believe that they would be winless right now. With what they have on that defensive side of the ball, man, I definitely thought that they would have at least 2 wins by now. So they're winless. So if they don't win this week against a Bethune team who's just dealing with the perils of life, a hurricane came through Bethune-Cookman, and they ain't got their foot neither. So if you don't win against a team that's been riddled by God-given trauma and hurricane, I don't see when you're going to get one, man. So I got Valley winning, but only time will tell.
And man, this is the thing about Valley. I forgot to mention this, Doc. Valley this year has not scored more than 17 points in a ball game.
Jeez, man.
And
that's
so
why I tried to
that's a
say they
high
hadn't
point
scored a
total.
lot. I knew that. Yeah, you're a great point when you did it. Not more than 17. That's hard to believe. And what's frustrating if you're a Valley fan is just how well their defense have played. Their defense is really solid. And most people are just not going to know because of the offense have been so anemic and they put some points on, but it's because you just literally run out of gas when you play. Let's go back to the MEAC. This is a bonus game, so I want to get in this. This is number 4, Delaware State against Howard, Washington, D.C., William H. Stud Green Stadium, homecoming. MEAC, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, ESPN Plus for the MEAC. Number 4, Delaware State Hornets, 4-2, 1-0 at Howard Bison, 1-5. Howard Bison hasn't played a conference game. This is a chance for them to flip the script, turn around the season. Delaware State wants to show that they're for real. So in terms of that matchup, Josh, would you just talk a little bit about the SWAC with one team playing well, not? In that case, both of them really weren't. What are your thoughts in terms of going back into the MEAC, one team playing really well, top 4? I mean, top 5, but ranked number 4. What are your thoughts about the Hornets for Delaware State?
Doc, if we being honest, man, Delaware State has been the surprise of not only the MEAC, but HBCU football on the major level across the board. You know, we knew that defense was solid. They brought back a lot of guys on that defensive front. Some very, very talented guys that put their hands in the ground and they just go get after the ball, man. They play really well. Those backers are very smart. Though those backers, their linebacking core is fairly young, you know, a little younger than we've normally seen. Delaware State last season, that defense looked good. And so you kind of got to guess that if at some point that offense can go from below average to just average, that they will put themselves in a situation that they're in now. And hello, ladies and gentlemen, Delaware State has found a way to get their offense from below average to average. And you're now seeing what the ramifications can be for that program for anybody that's got to play against them with a defense like they have and just an average offense, man. So you got to look at that and say, man, Delaware State has been the surprise of all of major level HBCU football. And then to Howard, Doc, if I can just take 15 seconds about Howard. If Morehouse College for men in Atlanta, Georgia is not on that Howard schedule, they are in the same situation as Mississippi Valley. Howard is still Howard in this conference. And I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face. Happy homecoming. I hope you have fun with the cheese and crackers and the piece of wine and stick your pinky up and all the stuff you want to do for homecoming. But you are going to lose another homecoming because Howard is still Howard. That's all I got to say, Doc.
Say that it might be the Becca. It may have all the stars, but it ain't stars on the football field. PJ Jones, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, man. Nice. Champagne Poppy ain't putting no points on that scoreboard. I tell you that. Man, this thing about Delaware State, man, before you go anywhere with Delaware State, I want to say our condolences to the Delaware State program and Coach Brian Broussard that passed away this weekend, former offensive coordinator at Delaware State. So our hearts, thoughts, and prayers are with not only with the Delaware State family, but the Broussard family as well. I think, you know, for Delaware State, we knew what they were. We knew what they were defensively and what they could do. And Josh hit the nail on the head. They found a way offensively to put some points on the board. Now, this same Delaware State team actually limited Delaware to only 35 points, and 14 of those points they scored late. You know, it was a close game for a while, but they found a way offensively to put some points on the board. I think they get a win here against Howard, and that's going to set up a really big matchup next week, Doc, because North Carolina Central has to go up to Dover, Delaware, and that's going to be a tricky game. You got those two defensive units, and that game just might be it just might determine who represents the MEAC in Atlanta.
Ooh,
yeah,
talk heavy, BJ.
Ooh, hey, man. You got to get it done this weekend. But think about it, especially if both teams are able to win. You're talking about a top 5 matchup. Both teams will be top 5 for sure if both teams win. next week determine in a lot of ways who will get to Atlanta. All eyes will be MEAC, but then you still have big matchups in the SWAC as well. Man, this next 2-3 weeks are going to be fun as it get there. We're going to spend one more in this week. We'll let you go and see you on Sunday. With that being said, let's go back to the SWAC for a bonus matchup. Longman, Mississippi Smith, Kasem Stadium. Alcorn is coming off a tough loss. Texas Southern has a week off, so extra time. This is a Western Division matchup. Since Alcorn has moved over to the West, this is the second, obviously, year of that. But you think about it, you just don't quite get used to thinking that, hey, this is for division competition. It means a lot. Saturday, 2:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, ESPN Plus. Texas Southern Tigers are on the road, 2-4, 2-2. So they're still in the race to some degree. At number 7, Alcorn State Braves, 3-3, 2-1. Braves want to stick in the race, and they have a lot ahead of them based on the fact they have Prairie View up in there, and they're thinking, hoping maybe in terms of Southern has another tough couple of games. Maybe they can this game, and the Tigers are saying, wait up about us. What are your thoughts into this matchup, BJ Jones? This is intriguing to me more than many people may think.
It's a crucial SWAC Western Division matchup. Texas Southern now sitting at 2-2 in the conference. Alcorn at 2-1. Texas Southern can get a big win and almost immediately play themselves right back into it because they hold something very key: a win over Southern. And if you're Alcorn, you need this win to keep pace. If you get this loss and you got to go to Grambling next week, Alcorn didn't play well there. You got Prairie View the week after that. You got to go to Prairie View. That's a difficult game. Bethune-Cookman, and then to wrap it up with Jackson State and the Soul Bowl, you need to build that momentum. You want to keep the L's out of that loss column if you plan on representing the Western Division in the SWAC championship game. So this game is crucial. It's almost an elimination game. It's definitely an elimination game for Texas Southern. For Alcorn, it's not an elimination game, but man, you have to get through insurmountable odds to play your way back into it.
Ooh, great breakdown in terms of what's on the table for a matchup for a lot of folks that might have been looking the other way. Certainly could understand looking into the MEAC, but in terms of the SWAC matchup, Joshua, I want to hear what you have to say in terms of these two programs. What are you going to be watching in this game?
Yeah, man, the running game for Alcorn State for me is what I'm going to be looking at. Jarvion Howard, one of the best running backs, one of the best backs in all of HBCU football. Can he get this offense back on track, man? We all know Alcorn State we're going to run it down your throat. We're going to see what you can do about it. Can they exert themselves on a Texas Southern defense that looks dormant a lot of the times, man? A lot of times Texas Southern's defense, for those athletes they got on that side of the ball, they look very, very below average for a defense. And for Texas Southern, right, I've heard so much talk about Andrew Body. And you can say that the win against Southern is a signature W, but then you look at it and you say, well, dang, like, can there be a such thing as you having just a bad timing for a W, right? Like the Southern W, can you say that? Was it just like not the right time to get that W? Like, because now you're in a situation where if Alcorn comes in and they do what they're supposed to do, they're at home, they come in and they do what they're supposed to do, Texas Southern might be getting ready for basketball season right now. This weekend might be over for them. It's time to go ahead and start getting ready for that really, really perennial basketball program that they got there at Texas Southern, man. So, do we see Andrew Body finally take that step? I've heard so many people talk about this kid. I've had a chance to sit down and watch him. Is this a weekend that we see him just take the step to say, hey, I'm the second best quarterback in the entire conference. Now I'm going to put us in a position where we can be able to get ourselves to the SWAC championship. It'll start this weekend against Alcorn, but only time will tell, man. If you don't see that, I expect for them to literally have to go ahead and get ready to roll the basketballs out on the court, get the layup lines ready to go, start smacking some backboards, man, slap the floor. Let's get ready for basketball season.
He said they're going to be looking the other way that they don't get it done this weekend. Well, I tell you.
He already put Texas Southern in the Maui Invitational.
Oh, my goodness. Great dialogue with these guys here. That's BJ Jones, HBCU Football Weekly. Check him out, especially on Tuesdays. He drops it on Twitter Spaces. Early in the day, he does his top 5 Tuesday, and then they talk about it. I'm going to have to sneak in there and do some mid-major and major division poll rankings. Let them know, especially next week, because it's going to go down on the major division talking about these top 5, top 10 matchups. So I might jump in there a little early and talk about that. Then Joshua Sims Sr., Wednesday follows up, get you a little more into your HBCU groove as you start getting ready for the weekend. That's HBCU Nightly as he brings it. I'm going to sneak in there, too, with some of the top 10 matchups, mid-major and major division, and tell you what to look out for because it's been good. Keep watching. Yes, some teams are falling off, but those teams that are jockeying for the space at the top, it's getting good right now. Let's call it a day. Thank you for listening to HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports. Boys, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, but I couldn't ask for 2 better guys to bring you some HBCU football talk. BJ Jones, Joshua Sims Sr. So I appreciate that as our guest of the day doing some co-host work with me. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. Follow us on Sunday because I have them back with the +2 crew, and these guys will break down all that went on Saturday. We'll tell you what we saw and what we thought. Did it happen? What didn't happen? And then we'll start looking forward to the following week. So we'll keep you all up into all your HBCU needs as you get going with all your HBCU latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattacavil, DrKenyattacavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter. Facebook and YouTube is Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. BJ Jones.
Of course.
Joshua Sims Sr.
All I know is class dismissed, dog.
Lecture.
Lecture.
Lecture dismissed.